Oh yes, my Straight Talk family, whenever you hear that theme song, you know it's time for another edition of Straight Talk and time for me to bid you, St. Kitts and Nevis, a very pleasant night. And I say a very pleasant night to the entire Caribbean region. And as a matter of fact, I say greetings to the world, because we are on the World Wide Web, on our Facebook and our YouTube pages. Just share the link, tell your friends, your family, your neighbors, share with them, and those who do not have access to the Wi-Fi as well, try sharing with them likewise. I know that some of you are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. There are some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I am going to say good night. I will also say good morning, Europe, United Kingdom in particular. How are you doing over there? My dear friends in the UK, there. And those of you in North America, I can say good night. Everybody, I say good night, good morning, and or good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves, perhaps on maybe doing a little vacation, some of you, taking a trip somewhere, but good to connect with you. And if you are connecting for the first time, I welcome you and just inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and or political issues. On Straight Talk, you do have a forum to express yourselves freely. Let us in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis as one of the freest countries in the entire world. In this program, we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Library, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I will continue to advocate, I'll be an untiring advocate for truthfulness. We have to get the facts out there for everyone. And we are not only informative, we are also participative in that we include your calls, we include your emails, and if you're so minded to call, take these numbers, 663-6672, that's 869-663-6672, or 646-829-6672. There's some of you who like, as I call it, the cloak of anonymity, so you like to hide behind your keyboards. And we give you access via our email. We give you access via our email, and that email address is Straight Talk Patches, that's one word, STRAIGHTTALK PATCHS, that's Straight Talk Patches at gmail.com. And saying hello to Norma and Danny over there in the United Kingdom. I know you're up, so you're just saying hello. Tell your friends it's not sleeping time. But for those of you there in the Bronx area, coming up next week it's Jordan Williams's birthday bash over there at 2731 Golden Avenue in the Bronx, the area code 10469. And lots of entertainment. Mr. Bagnell, Smiley, Upfront Band, DJ Fire, Pungwa, DJ Menti. And all it takes to get you in at the door, just give a small donation. It's going to be fun. I did in fact learn of the passing of Miss Richardson. I forgot her first name, my good friend and former teacher. She has gone to the great beyond. And as a matter of fact, all those who have lost loved ones, we do extend profound condolences to you and your entire families. And just to let you know that death is a process. And the process we all participate in at some stage in our life. Then we go, as usual, to our observations in review. And this is a time when we highlight the issues of the day and do some reflection. Did I say I missed you? I know many of you said you miss me as well, but I want to show you that I miss you more. And for those of you who probably missed the message that I was not going to be on Monday. Normally on the holidays, take this cue. Normally on a holiday, we take a break, you know. Take a break and we relax. We go slow, as we say. So it's good to be with you again. And our observations in review is that time when we reflect on some of the issues that we had addressed in the past. We asked a few questions, and there's so many things outstanding. And I want to thank you all for keeping me abreast with the information. There's normally a plethora, an oversupply of information you provide me, but I'm grateful. But we look at and consider how it has helped others, what was accomplished, what have changed since then, and what can be expected next. Also, what new we have learned as a people. Our first observation, my Straight Dog family, it's in relation to the appointment of a governor or the Governor General's deputy. The Governor General's deputy. And I am really happy to see former Speaker, former Union President, and former Ombudsman as well, Walford Gums, was appointed as Governor General's deputy in the absence of Her Excellency Marcella Liebert, who has gone to the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla. And someone called me today and was actually, it was a big laugh though, because there was this rumor that spread wide and far that Sam Condor would get the nod, but that was just what it is, a rumor. Because Prime Minister Drew was either not prepared to take the gamble, or Douglas was unforgiving of Sam. I mean, recall that his wife, Jenny, failed in her attempt to steal the mace in Parliament, thinking that would bring down the PAM government back then. Recall as well that Sam refused every offer from Douglas, even that of Governor General, and never withdrew his resignation from cabinet, but stuck with Timothy and eventually brought down the Labour government. Hardcore Labour supporters will never forgive Sam and Jean, but my heart goes out to that couple. Another opportunity for Jean to wear her broad hats and long-sleeve gloves has once again passed her by. But congratulations, however, are in order for Walford Gums. And he did say a few words when he was, or after his appointment.
I want to thank all those persons who, in any way, were responsible for the opportunity that has been given to me to serve our country, our federation, in this another capacity of Governor General's deputy. I'm indeed honored and I accept the responsibility given to me in all humility. I am humbled and I hope, with God's blessing, that I would be able to live up to the responsibilities for however short a period of time.
Yes, and that's comments coming from the Governor General's deputy, Walford Gums. For a moment, I didn't even remember Walford, so it's good that Labour remembered him. But questions are being asked as to why the Premier of Nevis issued a news release via NNC local TV in Nevis. I mean, this release came out pretty early, and one wonders, or many pondered as to why this news release came out from or via the NNC, which went like this.
Premier of Nevis, the Honourable Mark Brantley, will be absent from the Federation for the period Wednesday 3rd to Thursday 11th May in order to attend the coronation of King Charles III and Queen Consort Camilla. The coronation of King Charles III and his wife Camilla as King and Queen of the United Kingdom and the other Commonwealth realms is scheduled to take place on Saturday, May 6th at Westminster Abbey. King Charles III acceded to the throne on September 8, 2022, upon the death of his mother, Queen Elizabeth II. The historic investiture ceremony will be followed by a coronation concert at Windsor Castle.
You know, when many heard this, we thought that Mark got a special invitation from the king and his queen, and unaware of the fact that he was part of the Prime Minister's delegation. But, you know, Mark would always remain Mark because perhaps he just wanted to upstage Prime Minister Joe. But Mark knew he was part of the PM's delegation. But this was, however, clarified by ZIZ's Shanique Harvey, I think it is. Shanique Harvey, yes, in this news item, which was released before the departure of the delegation.
Prime Minister Honorable Dr. Terence Drew departed the Federation on Wednesday along with a delegation bound for London to attend the coronation of His Majesty King Charles III. On Saturday, 6th May 2023. Also attending the King's coronation are Governor General Her Excellency Dame Marcella Liebert, GCMG JP, Deputy Governor General in Nevis Her Honor Mrs. Hailita Liebert MH, Premier of Nevis Honorable Mark Brantley, Permanent Secretary in the Prime Minister's Office Miss Naima Hazel, Diaspora Ambassador Miss Christine Walwyn, and Protocol Foreign Service Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs Miss Tuvia France. The Right Honourable Dr. David Douglas will travel to London for the coronation on Thursday.
As intimated by many, very large delegation. Our second observation, though, it's the unavoidable expulsion of Cleone Stapleton Simmons from all organs of the Nevis Reformation Party, and that expulsion was ratified by its executive, according to this report coming from Carla Berridge of ZIZ TV.
Elected representative for Nevis 5 St. Thomas in the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, Honorable Cleon Stapleton Simmons, was expelled from all institutions of the party following an investigation by the party's disciplinary committee. In a statement issued on Monday, the NRP stated that the decision came as a result of Stapleton Simmons' failure to comply with the decision of the executive committee for her to support the Honorable Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, as the leader of the opposition in the Nevis Island Assembly. Stapleton Simmons' expulsion follows her suspension from all institutions of the party in February 2023.
The elected representative from Nevis 5 St. Thomas's had promised an expeditious resolution to the matter, which never materialized. Remember, she said this.
We are mindful that it has to be resolved expeditiously, as our supporters definitely expect a quick resolution to the matter, and one would expect that this matter will be resolved before the next parliamentary sitting.
Well, that was not to be. And well-known political analyst Peter Wickham examined her short-term benefits and short-term interests that could have been derived from her actions. But I believe he was very harsh on her when he pointed out her quote-unquote political stupidity.
Her long-term political reality is quite grim. My sense is that the NRP is the future of Nevis, because there certainly is a favorable swing, a favorable tailwind in their favor. If she has determined that it is better for her to hitch her wagon to another star, a star which is on the decline, I would say that she demonstrated a level of political stupidity that she was not worthy of promotion in the first place. And it would give her some short-term benefit, but long-term, it wouldn't go anywhere. And frankly, I think that the long-term reality for her, the prospects, are not that great as it stands, unless she's able to mend fences and do so quickly. Within a future NRP government, whenever that occurs, whether it's now or in the future, she will not be trusted. And trust is something which it takes a long time to build, and it can be destroyed in a second, and I think that this is what we're seeing.
Many are saying, though, that Cleon Stapleton Simmons's political future is now history. And it seems as though she did not do well in her latest interview with The View in Grenada, which she aborted.
Okay, Cholesterol, can we take a pause here?
Okay, you want to end the interview or you want to pause?
No, I need to pause because I feel that the interview is becoming very combative, and I was not prepared for this, and I do not want this image of me to be out there. This is not what, I expected. Yes, you can ask me hard questions, but I just feel like we are arguing too much back and forth, and, that's not something that I want to put out there at this point in time.
But do you wish to answer the question about your future in politics and in the district where you won? It's a stronghold for the NRP, and do you intend to contest it as an independent? Have you considered those things? Are you considering an alliance with the CCM? People have spoken of that, or joining the CCM, or simply just having an alliance where you'll be able to get resources to your people in your district. What's the future for Cleon Simmons in the politics in Nevis?
Can we stop the interview? I'm not feeling comfortable.
Okay. This is The Narrative, and I'm your storyteller, Callistra Fario, speaking there to Cleon Stapleton Simmons,
a member of the Nevis Island Assembly, speaking about her expulsion from the Nevis Reformation Party and what exactly transpired there and her future in politics.
I did in fact say the view, but it is the narrative, I should say. And my heart, though, goes out to the young lady, Cleon Stapleton Simmons, who appeared to have had a great political future. But Straight Talk wishes her well in her endeavors. Our third observation, though, relates to that housing project apparently that would be launched by the Jew Labor Administration. And we heard of it via a Trinidad News Journal, of all places, published in the Trinidad Express newspaper. Interestingly enough, though, I am aware that the cabinet of the Team Unity Administration, for some reason, never demonstrated the confidence to place government business into the hands of the principal company named in the said article. And I very well know why. But that is for another time and another program. In the meanwhile, many due diligence questions are being raised about this $1.52 billion project. And just in case you were pondering, that currency is TT, Trinidad and Tobago dollars, and has a value, or it has been revealed rather, it amounts to 227 million US dollars, or just over 616 million East Caribbean dollars. But not the nature of the agreement. We have not heard the details of the agreement. We have not learned whether it is grant funded or is there a loan agreement with the financiers. And if it is the latter, then how are the funds guaranteed? Is there a sovereign guarantee required? And was it committed, and how? And these are pertinent questions, my Straight Talk family. Because I made this mention, or I made mention of this before, as it relates to guarantees and the conforming to the Finance Administration Act, Cap 20.13, which is very clear, yes, pellucid, and it speaks to these matters. The legislation speaks to restriction on guarantees. And Section 55, to be exact, states, and I quote, "A guarantee of a financial liability shall not be given by the government unless it is A, given in accordance with the provisions of an act authorizing the guarantee, or B, authorized by resolution of the National Assembly." And these are serious matters, my Straight Talk family. And Prime Minister Drew must be open and transparent for once in doing the people's business. He must understand that he's not running a bar shop up at Monkey Hill. He's running a country. And that by now he should have understood. Contractors as well are demanding complete information from Dr. Joe and the reassurance that they will not be turned into laborers and tradesmen in their country. You remember he promised this, my Straight Talk family. And we did before a program. A promise is for a fool.
Okay, Cholesterol, can we take a pause here?
Okay, you want to end the interview or you want to pause?
No, wow. I need to pause because I feel that the interview is becoming very combative.
Please forgive me, my Straight Talk family. It should be this one. Please forgive me.
We're in the process of launching our housing program. We promise a lot of houses and we intend to pursue it. And I want to say that our contractors are the ones who will build the houses. That is why we say we want our painters, our plumbers, heavy equipment operators, electricians, all those who are involved. Because as we pursue our housing program, our local contractors are the ones. When investors come, one of the first questions I ask, so who can build that? Because we have a lot of people here who can build. And all the activities surrounding building, we have people who can do those things. The means, of course, to employ our people. So we will not sit by and watch an investor come in, invest their money, and not use our people. So I want to make that clear, that our people, our contractors, so forth, will be the ones who will be building.
But don't get too excited, my Street Dog family. Because when I was thinking about this project, it brought back memories of the Clicker project. Do you remember that, under Labour? And there was another project down there at Camps. I've been struggling to remember the company that started that housing project as well, and many people lost money. I understand it was an insurance company, but someone can tell me if they remember that company. But when you look at this project, if you do the maths though, that a house would on average cost well over $200,000. And I can tell you the majority of the citizens in this country that need, not want, that need housing are the ordinary poor people in this country. And again, it seems as though this new Labour administration are going past the poor people in this country. They took away their PAP. They took away their social assistance. What next will they do? But those are my observations in review for tonight, my Straight Dog family. And I embark without hesitation on my short thesis tonight, which I have entitled Conduct of DPP Undermines the Rule of Law. And the acronym DPP stands for Director of Public Prosecution. So if I read it again, the conduct of the Director of Public Prosecution undermines the rule of law. My Street Dog family, it is well documented in the literature that in the absence of the rule of law, a culture of crime will thrive in a country. A quick glance at the statistics will convince us that such a proposition can be regarded as a truism here in St. Kitts and Nevis. Recently, I presented a thesis in which I did a short case study that proved that crime plus poverty equals to the Jew Labour Party administration. Some said it was premature and the administration was new. But just last night in Nevis, there was sadly another homicide, which brings the total number of homicides to date for 18 murders under 8 months of Dr. Drew. From January 2023 to present, there have been 10 murders, 9 of which were gun-related. Yet just over a week ago, upon the advice of the previous Director of Public Prosecution, Valston Graham, 2 persons were charged by the police in a gun fine here in St. Kitts, and which was successfully prosecuted, according to this report from ZIZ's Carla Berridge.
Cillian Phipps and Tariq Jones have been convicted for the possession of firearm and possession of ammunition on April 17, 2023. Both have been sentenced to serve 3 years in His Majesty's prison, on each charge with their sentences set to run concurrently. The conviction stems from a gun find in October 2021. Phipps was charged on October 26th, and Jones was charged on October 28th, as he was a police officer at the time, and the matter was referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. They were both remanded to prison.
The director or the charges were referred to the Director of Public Prosecutions for advice. But that I can say, my Straight Talk family was not the current Director of Public Prosecution. That was the former Director of Public Prosecutions, as I said before, DPP Graham, who provided that advice to prosecute. But hear this. A few days later, this time on Nevis, the Jew Labour government handpicked and current Director of Public Prosecutions, Greatest Gordon Hazel, stunned the courtroom, which was in session, when she served a notice of discontinuance on Senior Magistrate Her Honor Yasmin Clark in the case which was before her, NEVMNCR 2023/01/02. Director of Public Prosecution, Greatest Gordon Hazel, exercised her power under Section 65, subsection 2C of our Constitution, the St. Kitts Nevis Constitution, and ordered that the notice of discontinuance be entered in her name in the case just mentioned, in which the accused stood charged before the District C Magistrate with the offenses of possession of firearm and ammunition, contrary to Section 20, subsection 1B of the Firearms Act, Cap 19.05. The warrant dated 25th of April 2023 was served on Her Honor Miss Yasmin Clark in order for her to discharge the proceedings which were currently before the magistrate. My Straight Dog family, do you understand what I said? I said that 2 persons in St. Kitts were charged in the District A Magistrate Court with the offenses of possession of firearm and ammunition, contrary to Section 20, subsection 1B of the Firearms Act, Cap 19.05, and successfully prosecuted by DPP Greatness Gordon Hazel. The 2 persons were each sentenced to 3 years in prison. However, a few days later, in the District C Magistrate Court in Nevis, a different person was charged with the same offense of possession of firearm and ammunition, contrary to Section 20, subsection 1B of the Firearms Act, Cap 19.05. And this case was miraculously discontinued by DPP Greatness Gordon Hazel. And there is general consensus in the public square that the conduct of DPP Gordon Hazel has thus far brought the administration of justice in St. Kitts Nevis into disrepute. The first unprecedented decision she took was to instruct the police not to charge a woman who apparently stabbed her Jamaican boyfriend to death. No DPP, or anyone for that matter, can determine self-defense until a judge and a jury make that decision based on the evidence presented in a court of law. These troubling developments, my Stray Dog family, in our beloved Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, have nonetheless brought into focus the three branches of government, namely the executive, the PM and his cabinet of ministers, the legislative, which is the National Assembly or the Parliament, and the judicial branch, the Eastern Caribbean High Court and the Magistrate Court. My Stray Dog family, the Prime Minister administers the executive branch of our government. The Prime Minister, through his Attorney General, enforces the laws that the legislative branch or the Parliament makes. The executive is elected by us as citizens and residents of St. Kitts Nevis, who are over the age of 18 years and older, who satisfy the Constitution and the election laws of the Federation, to wit the National Assembly and Elections Act. The legislative part of our government is called the National Assembly or Parliament, as I said. And the National Assembly or the Parliament makes our laws. Now, who or what is a DPP, you may ask? And my layman's response would be that it is an independent office with its authority vested in the Constitution. And Section 65 of our Constitution relates to the control of public prosecutions. And Section 65 subsection 1 states, and I quote, "There shall be a director of public prosecutions whose office shall be a public office." B, or 2 rather, the director of public prosecution shall have power in any case in which he considers it desirable so to do. And I'd like to take this excerpt, subsection 2B, and it reads, "To take over and continue any such criminal proceedings that have been instituted or undertaken by any other person or authority." And fast track to 4. The power, it reads, conferred on the Director of Public Prosecutions by paragraphs B and C of subsection 2 shall be vested in him to the exclusion of any other person or authority. And interestingly, Section 5 and Section 101, subsection 6, reads, "The Director of Public Prosecutions shall not be subject to the direction or control of any other person or authority." And my Stray Dog family, very interesting. And I know we have made the caption, and I knew of a colleague who always referred to the World Justice Project. And information pertaining to the global rule of law can be gleaned from the World Justice Project Rule of Law Index that evaluates 140 countries and jurisdictions around the world. The World Justice Project reports that for the fifth year in a row, the rule of law has declined in most countries. I believe even here in St. Kitts, we have moved from a high of 29 to 36. That's still high, up 140 countries. But way back, my former colleague, A.J. Byron, would boast about this.
We are clearly number one in the OSS region, and we are tied with Barbados when it comes to the wider Caribbean. I think it's number 29 in the last report worldwide. It means that we as a country have been fulfilling our promise here to the rule of law, that there is fairness in what we do. We clearly have made sure that we are working to have greater access to justice. We ensure that there are no questions of brutality or abrogation of rights of citizens. We work towards that. That our citizens feel that they have equality before the law. Our judiciary is impartial.
My Stray Dog family, as I said, the World Justice Project reports that for the fifth year in a row, the rule of law has declined in most countries. We declined from 29 to 36 or 37, I think we are right now. But the rule of law is a mechanism, a process, an institution, a practice, or norm that supports the equality of all citizens before the law. It secures a non-arbitrary form of government and more generally prevents the arbitrary use of power. It is a principle that ensures that all people are subject to the same laws and that no one is above the law. A lot needs to be done to bolster public trust in the Federation's justice system, especially in the light of the actions of the Director of Public Prosecution over the past several months, and as recent as I stated about 1 week ago. One of the precepts of the rule of law is that all citizens are subject to the same law administered without bias by an independent judiciary. At a time when crime and violence has crept right back into our society, especially since the election of the new Jew Labour administration, there have been 10 homicides for 2023, 9 of which have been gun-related murders. In his first 4 months in office, there were 8 homicides. So in all told, under the Jew Labour administration, we have had 18 homicides. So even more troubling are the recent decisions of the DPP that have threatened the appearance and reality of impartiality with her instructions to the police and the magistrate. At the recent crime symposium, the Prime Minister of Barbados made these comments by Straight Dog family. She made this comment.
It's the only pillar that has come in the last 20 years to the revised Treaty of Chaguaramas, the security. But we have not followed through on the functional day-to-day cooperation that can make the difference there. And on the matter of law and order, the judges, we need to start rotating the use of judges and magistrates in the region to ensure that there is not the familiarity with counsel and other circumstances and the things that people take for granted.
Rotate the judges to ensure that there's not the familiarity with judges and with counsel, she said, and others. What about rotating directors of public prosecution? That is something that can be considered, don't you think? But what is even worse, though, my straight dog family, is the silence of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association is deafening in these matters, and it's this interest in taking them up and providing much needed guidance in an effort to help goad them to do the right thing. But if the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association is silent on the transgression, the breaking of the laws by the Attorney General Garth Lucian Wilkin, what else can we expect from this body of lawyers? Judicial impartiality is often depicted by a blindfolded lady justice, who symbolizes objectivity and equality before the law. The decision whether to prosecute a person or not is not always a political decision. There is no question that the Attorney General must exercise his role objectively and independently. However, in a free and democratic society, the prosecutorial function does not operate in a vacuum, my straight dog family. It does not operate in isolation and immune from debate or discussion. So don't feel uneasy that we are discussing this topic tonight. And indeed, it does not operate in persuasion. Isolation breeds tyranny. Access to justice requires those who administer justice to be accessible. Former UK Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, the Iron Lady, we call her, opined that the first duty of government is to uphold the law. If it tries to bob and weave and duck, she continued, around that duty when it's inconvenient, if government does that, then so will the governed, and then nothing is safe, not home, not liberty, not life itself. Author and writer Joseph Chawa shared an article for academic purposes in the Zambian Observer by Professor Muna Endulo under the caption, "The Moral Arc of Justice." And he wrote this interesting paragraph, and I quote, he said, "Fair and effective prosecution is essential to a properly functioning criminal justice system and to the maintenance of law and order in a democratic state. The rule of law requires a well-marked division of powers, as I said before, between the legislative, which is the parliament, the executive, which is the cabinet, and the judiciary, or as we say, the judicial branches, which are the courts, and these three branches of government. One of the critical aspects of the rule of law is the independence of the judiciary. Neither parliament nor cabinet can interfere with cases that are before the courts. Those involved in the administration of justice, including judges and prosecutors, cannot and should not be subject, I should say, to political influence. Can a director of public prosecution arbitrarily discontinue a case when there is a reasonable prospect of conviction? Is one of the questions we ask. Prosecutorial discretion covers decisions to institute, continue, or terminate criminal proceedings. In making these decisions, the prosecutor must consider whether the evidence demonstrates that there is a reasonable prospect of conviction, and if so, whether a prosecution best serves the public interest. Then tell me, a man found with a gun and ammunition, caught red-handed in Nevis, my learned friend would say that he had constructive possession. Then isn't it an abuse of process to arbitrarily discontinue that case? But my straight dog family, Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law before he became president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. He broke the law when he was president of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association. Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law before he became Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. Garth Lucien Wilkin broke the law after he became Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs. But he and his government handpicked the Director of Public Prosecution. Is he dictating the role of the DPP? That's a fair question to ask. But he said this in the Parliament. He said this in the Parliament some months ago.
On the expiry of the contract of the former DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, on September 19th, and to create a smooth leadership transition, 2 experienced local prosecutors were assigned. I've promised that we will properly provide the support and staff to make the office able to function properly like it should. And we're also going to recruit a new DPP very shortly to take the reins of that office.
But that was 8 months ago. So why after 8 months a new DPP has not been recruited? Is it because you're sneaking in your hand-picked Director of Public Prosecution? Because there's no intention, it seems, to recruit one. No intention whatsoever to recruit a new Director of Public Prosecution. No plan whatsoever, my straight dog family. And we understand why. We understand why, simply because you no doubt want to guide the wheels of justice in the country. But we're not going to sit idly by and allow that to happen. You said this.
2 experienced local prosecutors, Madam Speaker, who you worked with, and you would testify to their capabilities. They had resigned, like you did, Madam Speaker. I don't want to talk your business in the House, but you're now a public figure. 3 members of the DPP's chambers resigned. And when I went to the DPP's office, I was told simple things like, they didn't have toilet paper. And I thought to myself, what kind of government office not have toilet paper? That was the state of affairs that I met. I'm spending so much time cleaning up mess. I didn't know I was the number 1 in the number 2 business. I didn't know that was my job. Toilet paper. 3 senior prosecutors, capable prosecutors. I know them because I used to be a prosecutor too. Resigned. They couldn't take it anymore. So, I was able to convince 2 of them to come back.
Yes. AG Garth Lucien Wilkin is correct. 3 members of the DPP's chambers resigned. Not because of toilet paper. Perhaps that's your best job. The number 1 in the number 2 business. And you know, Garth Lucien Wilkin, it was about money. Speaker Blanchett, you're correct, was one of them. And the 2 you convinced to come back were demanding a salary no less than $15,000 per month, plus their professional allowances. In the spirit of transparency, tell the country the truth. Garth Lucian Wilkin. What is the salary that they are now being paid? But the question I ask in concluding my thesis tonight, my Straight Talk family, is this. Are the actions of the Director of Public Prosecution making the criminal justice system as strong as it can be in the fight against crime and violence, also for the protection of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? I can hear your response even from this distance. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecution falls within the hosting remit of the Office of the Attorney General, even though the Constitution provides for its independent functioning. The Director of Public Prosecution mostly interact with the Attorney General and Minister of Justice and Legal Affairs, Garth Lucian Wilkin, who has demonstrated that he himself is above the law. Then we cannot have any hope. So I'll say, without fear of contradiction, my Straight Talk family, the conduct of the Director of Public Prosecution undermines the rule of law in this country. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. You may have your own view. On Straight Talk, we entertain all shades, all views on this program. So I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. The numbers are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. I always like to implore you when I open the lines, and I'll do so right now. I implore you to respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And my Straight Talk family, in saying and doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. Again, the lines are open. I'll entertain your calls. There are lots of other issues I know we did not capture. There's so many things are happening under this Jew administration. But I'll take the emails as I wait on the calls, because quite a lot of emails have already built up. And I'll perhaps want to dispense, not perhaps, I will dispense of all of them, because it's important that we get all the views expressed on the program. Patches reads this email. Permit me to speak on the labor demonstration, beg your pardon, traditionally held in St. Kitts. The Labour Party started out as the Workers' League, which lobbied on behalf of the then oppressed sugar workers. I stand to be corrected. And after gaining popularity, they formed into a political party. Subsequently, Labour formed their first administration, and here started the conflict of interest. I submit a surgeon has no moral right owning a funeral home. I am presently a member of a union in the United States, and just like the church and state separation, government and unions naturally work best separately. The unions lobby governments to pass legislation that would benefit the workers, and the union negotiate contracts with the various companies on behalf of workers for better wages, rate, vacation, sick time, and so on. I am not sure what is the main legislation in the Federation that protects workers. Beg your pardon? But our society has to get away from the politics and understand the way a union functions. Workers' rights transcends all political boundaries. I would like to see the active unions, the likes of the teachers' union, organize and take to the streets on Labor Day in their own march that would start to take the politics out of it and put some sense into it. Let's take back the streets for the workers on Labor Day. Read this email. Thank you for your time. The foreign McKnighter reads this particular email. Yes, my straight up family, again, the lines are open. The numbers, again, 646-829-6672, and that number 646-829-6672 is accessible as well via WhatsApp, and you can ensure you can connect via WhatsApp on this number, the 646 number as well. And the local number, 869-662, my straight dog family, 6672. Let's go to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Patches, man. How are you doing, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, I was trying to follow like the history of the the labor movement, and how the Labor Party got started. They had the march on Monday. It seems like it's very political. Like me as a youngster, I'm just trying to gather more information and get that history. I don't know if you can dwell a little bit more on that history along that lines. But what I realized as you're talking, right, something came up about the houses that gonna be built in St. Kitts, and there was that article you mentioned in Trinidad, in a Trinidad outlet, and they had somebody on Freedom Radio. They had somebody on this afternoon on Freedom Radio. I guess he's representing the government. I think they call him the ambassador Natter or something,
Natter.
Yeah. It seems like he wasn't that forthcoming with the information. That's what I abstracted from that interview this afternoon on the other radio station. So I don't know if you can get an abstract of that interview, and you can go over it and come back with some more info or some more feedback. But
what he didn't say.
From my observation, he said that he got some information that the workers. It seems like the contractors had gotten information that they was outsourcing this work, and the local contractors may not have the opportunity, or then they're wondering what's going to happen with this project if the work is going to be passed down to them. I'm listening to this story, man, and it seems to me like this building of the houses, the local contractors, it seems like they're going to be left out of the loop, or they're concerned about them getting left out of the loop. And this is all playing into the fact of the labor movement. because the government saying that they're supportive of this labor unions and the history behind the party and everything, but then now we have local contractors. They've been left in the dark. From my observation, it's not enough transparency. You know what I mean? And the government need to be coming. They need to be more forthcoming with these type of information, because every time there's a big project that's going on in the Federation, the people are being left out of the loop. You know what I mean? And I just kind of want you to go down that lines a little bit more, man, and, you know, see how much more information you can bring to the public about that proposed project that the government is going to be building these houses. You know, it's all said and done that they're going to be building houses and passing houses out to the people. But if the local man or the local contractors are being deprived of that opportunity, you know, I don't really like to hear that at all, man. The transparency is not enough for me. But thanks a lot, man. I'll keep listening, man.
Thanks for your input as well, and very interesting point you raise in relation to the transparency or lack thereof. The transparency.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a good night, man.
Thanks a lot, my brother, for your input. And you raise a very important point as it relates to the transparency and or the lack thereof. Transparency as it relates to the new Jew Labour administration. As they say, it's a new day, a better way. But they never give you information. I mean, you've learned about the housing project through the Trinidad Express, a news article, a news item, right? But before I go to the lines, quickly, the union was founded in 1940. That was following the legislation of that governed trade unions in St. Kitts and Nevis, and it was initially named the St. Kitts, Nevis, and Anguilla Trades and Labor Union, and really focus on the organizing of the sugar workers. It then expanded its sections, you know, to the manufacturing and the general workers section and other sections. But let me go to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Dr. This is Libert.
Yeah, good evening, my brother.
How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
Well, I am peaceful too. And first I want to say a pleasant good evening to all those who are in tune to Straight Talk. And they know who they are. A lot of them are my friends, and I can't call out their names because no time here for that. But you all know who you all are, because I know you all listen every Straight Talk program. First, let me begin patches. And gratefulness is worse than witchcraft. And when people turn ungrateful to people who've been grateful to them, the consequences don't be easy and nice. But God knows what He's doing. He do not like liars and people who turn ungrateful to others. There are some people I know in this country, they got help from Dr. Timothy Prime Minister Harris. And because they did not get what they want illegally through the back door, they turn around and start to curse Dr. Harris and call him Arconin. And call him Arconin. Okay, Arconin name. I ain't going to break down the name there. You know what to refer to Dr. Harris as. And now look at it. One of the consequences that fall back on them. Ah, my boy. Boast not thyself of tomorrow. I don't know it's not what the day may bring forth. All what they get up on earth is like mass. And they going on the drain. That's enough for that. Now, today I call in on a program which I do every day. And so I said, and I was talking about the same constructing of the homes, the houses that Dr. Joe say he gonna build for the people in St. Kitts. Number one, Dr. Joe tells too much a lie. Too many lies he tells. So I will not believe anything that come out of his mouth. Because we know he say he's not gonna victimize nobody. What he has done and what he's doing now, he victimized father, mother, down to the very suckling one and the breast he victimized. So I don't believe nothing with him. And he said that the local contractor of them, he gonna see that they get the work. That's another lawyer again. And there is a caller from the village. He's so much a labor that he will see a labor man killing a labor man and he will condone it and say he ain't kill him. When I talk, he come up and bring up about the pier. He said that who build the pier? Foreigners, but he must say that saying it doesn't have the equipment to do the drilling out there. We don't have it, so who have the equipment? They had to come and build you pier patches.
That's true.
But he never talk about the old roadway that you built to save lives of people getting killed by falling from the mountain. He ain't talk about that. It's local build it.
Yeah, that's true.
Rock and dot from the ground, the fellow Hazel, he built that. And you and the Prime Minister, Dr. Harris, you all could have called the company from overseas to build that. But you all care about the people in St. Kitts and Nevis. Give them work. And when the pier was being built, people were questioning, saying, but Dr. Harris, he's a big labor. Suppose he don't. Why go getting work? You know what Dr. Harris say? He is a Kittitian. And every Kittitian have to live for work. So thank God for you and Dr. Harris. So now, the caller, I want to know. I never had enough time to go back at the caller and tell him, let me tell you something. St. Kitts have contractors could build any design of houses. They have proven it, we have seen it, and for Dr. Drew to come and say that Kittitian is going to get this contract, and now look who got the contract. Those people who put up houses down camps project, and then have had enough steel, so they had to be rebuilt after that. But patches, I got more to say. And if I get back in on my little last do, I will tell you all what's happening here. We need to expose them when they do the wrong. Let those outside know what is wrong going on in the country. And they are condoned by Dr. Joe, who calls himself Prime Minister, and Gerard Wilkin, who calls himself DPP. Thank you. Not DPP. What do you call him there? AG.
Yes, sir.
Yes, so Patches, I will continue to listen. Thank you very much for long.
Thanks for your intervention, my dear brother. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank you for holding. Hello, caller.
Patches.
Hello.
Mr. Patches.
How are you, my brother? Sounds like the Bible man.
How are you?
I am peaceful.
Hey! And how you have your weekend?
Restful, man. I went to church, praised my Lord, and got some good rest.
Yeah.
What about you?
I'm fine. I'm wonderful. I am praising the Lord. But I am reading from Lamentation chapter 3, verse 23, 22 and 23. Here is a passage. It is the Lord's mercy that we are not consumed, because his compassion faileth not. Number 23 said, they are new every morning. Great is thy faithfulness. Mr. Patches, it is God's mercy that sinks the whole world are in a consume. God is the creator of the whole universe, Mr. Patches. And when people believe to themselves, they believe themselves they're more powerful. No, let us slow down. It is God's mercy. Psalm 107 say, oh, give thanks unto the Lord for his good, for his mercy endureth forever. It said, let the redeemed of the Lord say so, who he had redeemed from the hands of the enemy. Mr. Patrick, we have to give God thanks and praise every day and every hour. And then I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Patrick. God is looking over. And he's seeing the good and he's seeing the bad. So, Mr. Patrick, I am not going to pick up a lot of your time. So, in our next session, I will give you some more scriptures. So thank you very much to hear me. I'll be watching you. So now I take out the time to call you. And you be good. God is on your side, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you very much.
And no weapon that form against you shall prosper. No weapon, Mr. Patrick, that form against you shall prosper. And every tongue that rises up against you in judgment shall condemn. This is the heritage of the servant of the Lord and their war. So you be good, Mr. Patrick.
Thank you,
Thank you. Have a pleasant night.
Thank you, my brother, John, the Bible man. I'm happy that you are up to date with technology as well, and we can hear from you. And it's 9:18, my Straight Dog family. I know that first caller asked a question about the trade union. I'll try and see if we get as much information in as we try to juggle the calls and juggle emails. But the Trade Unions Act, CAP 353, that came into force in 1940 originally, adopted in the 19th of February 1940, when entered into force in 1940, and dealt with the freedom of association, collective bargaining, and industrial relations. And just like the employers, I very well believe that the chamber, I stand to be corrected, but they were originally registered under the Trade Union Act as well. So what's one thing we just don't seem to get right and understand? The employers are unionized, but the employees are not. I mean, we spoke years ago about the Shipping Association, and those guys on the waterfront won't get themselves organized. When all the shipping agents and the Hosfors, the TDCs, the John Gumses, the Lee Walwins were all part of a union, an employers' union, but the employees don't seem fit to get it right. And I understand. You understand the politics that came into it, and yes, we understand, because the union or the party had what is called an industrial arm to it, the union. I sometimes wonder, and there's always this debate about the conflict of interest, because Bradshaw was president of the union. Limor was president of the union. And when Bradshaw was premier, yes, and chief minister, he was the president of the union. And it went on. So the leaders, if not all the leaders of the Labour Party, save and except Dr. Douglas, they were all presidents of the union. It was not until it was Walford Gums who broke that trend. Then Douglas did not show any interest in the trade union. It's 21 past the 9 o'clock hour. We are taking your calls, my Straight Dog family. And again, this number 646, some people use it well, 829 6672 accepts WhatsApp calls. Wherever you are in the world, you can WhatsApp that number and get to the program quite easily. This email reads, my Straight Dog family, left in limbo, Cameroonians growing increasingly desperate reads this email. Let's go back to the lines in the meantime. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of His Imperial Majesty, Kadamari Haile Selassie the First, and Her Royal Highness, His Deo Meneva Asawa. Give thanks for the good word sound and the iris of our ancestors and our great gods and goddesses of the ancient black itineraries. Good night to you, brother. Is how your night is going?
Good night, my brother. I'm peaceful. What about yours?
Well, I just see you coming off out social media, being it here across the order. So I say, let me give you a call to see what you have on your plate. What you have on your plate?
Tonight, the thesis for tonight related to is entitled "The Conduct of the DPP, the Director of Public Prosecution, Undermines the Rule of Law." We heard of a case in Nevis where the DPP, using her authority, submitted or served a notice of discontinuance on the magistrate in District C and continued a case that dealt with a gun and ammunition. And just a few days before, someone in St. Kitts on the same charge got 3 years, and something has to be wrong with that. That was our main topic tonight.
Big thanks, my virgin. May I say this here without any fear or favor. The structure of our justice system is unstable because it don't have to be factually justice. Here in this context be just us. So if you're not in the hierarchy, you are not confined within the just us. That's why you have in these unstable results when it comes to plenary hearing in this justice system from St. Kitts and Nevis and even the wider part of the Caribbean shore. You are telling me that you're going to put in legislation in place to against this gang violence as they stated, and insisting on how these weapons are implying on our young ones. In an instant, things happen nowhere and they're different avenue. And it's not the same. You have a wasted society going here, you know. That's why we can't really develop to be a part of a structure that is killing people still of the ignorance. You know, I always say ignorance is not excuse for the law, but here is it waiting for you guys. These people can do it without any things reflecting back on what they have done wrong. It's time now this structure of our people start relying on knowledge and not ignorance. Because if we continue down the road of ignorance, we're not going to have a problem with the next generation coming along. If we really serious about a change in our environment that we have holding on as a people moving to the safety net of justice and equality. If we don't see equality there, we're not having any justice at all. And that is my take on this issue. It's time now we have equality. Because what go for one, I go for all. When I kill you, you're either you're rich or you're poor. Once you do the damage to our people, you deserve to see the consequences. We're saying that just in the you are making like you're not to be with structure to the society taking, you know. But we're saying we put you in isolation that you can understand the damage you have done and change that mindset, whether you're he or she. Because it's time now we understand. We are continuing bringing our youth into a disarray with the confusion of this justice system. Blessed love, brother Patches. I hope you have a lovely night when you're going home and keep the powers of the Almighty in your eyes. And tomorrow, mark our victory day, where Ethiopia see the return of His Imperial Majesty Kadamai Haile Selassie on the 5th of May 1941, where we see the fattest invaders of Mussolini, them get destroyed with the old criminal England and others, who's really see that Hitler at this stage was moving towards World War II. You all have a blessed night. Remember, our I story is greater than what Babylon have given us in the gene. Give thanks.
Give thanks, my brother. Give thanks, my brother. Thanks for your intervention as usual. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Brother Patrick.
Good night, sir.
Hello?
Yes, you're live, my brother. Good night.
Okay. I listened to your topic, but I was struck by, thank you. I was struck.
Hey there.
I was struck by an observation that St. Kitts government and its people has failed some people. Do you know they call a man crazy or loco? Yeah, right? They said a man is crazy. I will give you an example. Why so much unstable, balanced people walking around eating out of garbage pans? I think it's a failure of government to help these people. I mean, in the United States is big, but St. Kitts is just a little dot to the United States. And I've seen people in that predicament. But how much unstable, unbalanced mentally people in St. Kitts, why they cannot be helped? I mean, people ignore them the way they dress. People ignore them the way they smell. Okay? But I just want everyone to know, in the beginning, God made man from the dirt, the earth. And he lent each one of us who are living today his spirit. There is no difference between my spirit and a mentally unstable balance, man or woman, handicapped, so to speak. Why can't, when the politicians are talking and debating, I'm not hearing them talking about these people. The people need help. Sometimes we have to help people. But why do they also ignore? I mean, talking. What can we do for these mentally unstable people? I mean, from administration to administration. They're not getting the help to get them off the street so that they could come back into society. My example. A man I've known from a little child. They call him Pinder. Every time I see that man, I try to buy him a dinner. I try to do some kind of help for him. And if anyone tries to speak to Pinder, in spite of his condition of dressing and smelling, the man speaks real nice English. I always try to hold a conversation with him, and I said, man, this man could be come back into society. I need help for these people. There are a couple of them hang out across KR Street, not too far from the police station. Okay? Waiting for someone to give them some food or, they have their own personal way. I need help for these people. So the politics, that means fighting over all the time. Why can't they just set up a way for these people to get a good screen meal and good dressing? I am going to dress Pinder and like he never dressed before. I am going to help that man. I need some money to help all these people and stop calling them crazy. They're not crazy. They're mentally unbalanced. They could have had a problem when they were young for some reason, whatever reason. But these people need help. That's my concern. That's one of my concerns here. Thank you. I need that matter to be addressed immediately.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. That's a noble cause, and I always welcome these efforts, to help the downtrodden and less fortunate in our society. In respect of those Cameroonians, the police, customs, immigration, and government acted very slow. Now they are faced with a serious challenge, knowing not what to do. From the time the Prime Minister of Antigua and Barbuda announced that he is willing to take them back, provided St. Kitts is willing to send them. Weeks after, no effort was made by this incompetent, all-experts Labour government to return them to Antigua. Gaston Brown got fed up and said, okay, St. Kitts has plenty money. Let them have them. So he reneged on his initial plan to take them back. From the time they heard Brown ask for them to return to Antigua, put them on the Coast Guard and send them back. We have a bunch of new, inexperienced faces in positions who do not know their role and what to do, reads this email. This other email reads, Mr. AG, sir, you did not look good in the Labour red shirt on Monday. A lot of Labour persons told me how faked and odd you were looking. They labeled your red outfit as a pretentious show of assimilation with the cane cutters and labourers, but you are not fooling them. One woman said she's sorry, so sorry that Earl Clark was not around to rip that red shirt off your back and asked you from whence you came, reads this email. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, you alive. Hello, caller.
Good night. How are you?
I am peaceful, my dear. Yourself?
You could hear me?
Yes, we hearing you loud and clear. You sound like Alice in Wonderland.
Okay, just a question. A question. When 10 man did get hold up, he went back anytime, you know? So he gone. Huh?
Went back where?
When 10 man in one did get hold up with the money, he went back again. He went back anytime. Okay, that's a parable. I hope he look for the money. The country need it. I don't know if they're in the red still. The 500 they take from them, they must match. The fail match. It's not all petition stupid. They used to say all retirees, what happened now? Look who is Gigi acting. Think it's gone in. Some think they would do better. Don't bawl. You get in your raise soon. They had nothing to say Monday. Joy right again and leave everything at a standstill. And nothing was doing. Best Prime Minister, stay strong. God is with you. It's only a name they want. Who could do it better than Best Timothy? None. The pastor was big enough Newton. Like you did not do nothing. Ungrateful. Culture, good night, and you thank you. You know the up gastric or gastric name. Hello?
Yes, I'm listening. You said it was a...
Hello?
Yes, I'm listening to you, my dear.
Yes, but you remember gastric or gastric name?
Gatwick?
Yes.
Okay.
In England. When did they hold up?
Okay.
Will they come back to look for the money? See you. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear. Let's go. Have a good night, my dear. We go straight back to the lines. I want to thank this caller for holding. Caller. I'm sorry, caller. I'm sorry, caller. I had you holding and I disconnected you. I'm awfully sorry. Could you please try that number again? Forgive me for that. My fingers did the wrong thing. Positions in life can really change person's behavior, attitudes, perceptions, whether justifiable or for mere convenience. Who would have thought that our Governor General Marcelo would have accepted the post of Governor General to represent the British monarchy after she and her brother Junie had so much vile words in the past, characterizing the late Queen and the current King? Don't talk about their radio host. We all know who he is. Using the station to cast aspersions on the British monarchy. No, because of a novel high position, all the criticism and castigation of the monarchy have evaporated by these public hypocrites. They are only fooling themselves. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding. You're live.
Yeah. Okay, Patches. This is my second and my last do. I will enjoy the emails that you have to read for the rest of the night. Now, let me share an experience with me when I was living in St. Thomas. I was working with a very well-known company, 32 employees in a warehouse. And the second supervisor, you know what he said one day to me? I said to him, what is it? You behind everybody back, watching and peeping to see what they do. He said, boy, I'm going to tell you the truth. Me, you from St. Kitts, which is me, and he from Nevis. He said, if you don't watch us, there will be nothing for you to give. So you got to watch us. Well, saying that, to give people an idea, when Mr. Joe first take up office, he make his oath with the Bible, like Gad Wilkin, all of them swear that they will do their work without fear or favor, but right away they lie. And God, the Lord do not like liars, and they're going to pay for that. Now when Mr. Joe went in first, you know what he said? He declared that the country is in red, economically, with no money there. Now that impression is to fool people. Well, if the country is in red, why he first went to where you were, Patches in New York, 15 of them, and a Chinese woman? What part, what position was she holding in St. Kitts to go with them? That's wasting the money that they met there from Dr. Harris surplus. And then later on, he went to some country, I think it was Taiwan or some of them up there. When he and the crooked man in Nevis, the leader in Nevis, was seen riding bike in the road. That is the money that come from the surplus of Dr. Harris when he said the country is in red. Now, you know why he said the country is in red? He want to fool people that when he go traveling, they could say, well, boy, no money there. So he is not the taxpayers' money, he going up and down the place touring on. Now they go in England to see King Charles, just to watch him. Because I doubt he going to get any chance to go represent St. Kitts. But what he going with that large entourage of people again for? Just to waste the money? He don't have no love for the people in the country. Because he take away the $500 that the poor people who needed it was getting to pay the bills in the home. He take it away and say that the Dr. Harris was giving away money. But what are you doing with the money now? Where is the $1,500 that he promised he's going to give? That's another lie again. Dr. Joe, you got to stop telling lies. People are not foolish. People are educated and sensible. And the last thing, that person who caught red-handed in Nevis with a gun is the same kind of shooting that gun can do to people and kill them. Why should the police and the lady in St. Kitts who were caught with a gun get 3 years, and the one in Nevis caught with a gun, he's on the street walking? That is, I think all those who are in prison for gun-related crime, they should start a protest in the prison. It is not right. Why should you have them in prison for the gun that you like the one in Nevis? People in St. Kitts get brave, who know your constitutional right. Follow it, let it guide you. If you do not know your constitutional right, ask and get knowledge about it. Too many persons in St. Kitts sitting on their rights. You all need to do like those people in other countries who do not refuse. Who refuse to let their rights be trampled upon, and they hit in the street in whatever way they can protest and demonstrate. People rise up, stand up for your rights. That Attorney General again, he broke the law 3 times with the same activity, and Dr. Joe is condoning it. Before you tell him step down, get you broke the law. You ain't suitable to lead the country as no attorney general. Step down. But Dr. Duke, you condoning wrong. And anybody condone wrong, they are worse than the person who done the wrong. And the justice system, the lawyers, all you better speak up. Because when people rise up, all I know going to talk out. I could see why a lot of people, like especially Westerman, don't vote. Because when they make the oath and go in and say they're going to do justice and the favor without, they're going to work without fear or favor, they do absolutely nothing. They do things wrong, and it is wrong and bad. Anyway, Patrick, that's all I have to say for the night until next week. You have a good night. Watch left, watch right, watch front and look back. Don't trust nobody. Okay?
Thank you for the guidance, my dear brother. Bless up as well. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
A pleasant good evening to you.
Good evening, my dear. How are thou?
I'm fine, thank you. And how are you?
I am peaceful. Struggling here with a little cough, but I'm doing well.
Oh yes, I join all the certificates. I do not know why the general me coming.
Good to hear though. Good to hear you.
Lord, that is a question for you, sir. About 2 weeks back. And I asked, and nobody can give me the answer, so I'm going to ask you to see if you can give me. I would like to know if you have a consulate. The reason why I asked that, because I heard Dr. Joseph and Dr. June say that some man, I do not know whether it's from syndicates or whatever, working down here for syndicates and Nevis, and he kidnapped. And the man was supposed to come over to go to Saturn, and up to now, I need the man. And they're supposed to demand the act. He cannot disclose the ransom the act for the man. So I would like to know if we have a consulate in Haiti.
No, but we don't have a consulate.
I would like to know when it starts and how long it's in Haiti.
Well, the
next thing I want to, please, do not carry things to the public, because you see what's happening with these AG and lawyer and magistrate and judges. These people are report. We have to go to get our rights, because nobody thinks everybody came up there and was armed at the collecting, and they can give up not things and stuff. Is to stay like how we be and leave the Republicans city and do not action. Otherwise, I think the boom we do that. I hear some people say that come and talk about we should go in Republican or not, but it seems like them to forget that is ignorant to go to. And these the magistrate down here, you think it's what that. They seem like they forget. But we don't forget. So are you please don't go Republican. Let us tell like how we be, and I will like to know about the Haiti, the army consulate in Haiti and the demand, because the money going to have to pay. So this and where Douglas said he can disclose this some amount of money, what they ask for to let go the man. You have a president, and I will say if I get that thing again because I have more.
Okay, thanks for your contribution, and if I understand the question, you asked if there's a consulate in Haiti. We do not have a consulate in Haiti, but I think the good gentleman, if you're referring to the person who was apprehended or hijacked, was the honorable consul. And normally an honorary consul is an official representative of a government of one state in the territory of another state. So you have an honorary consul who represents, like for example, there are quite a lot of honorary consuls here who represent faraway countries elsewhere. But they do, in fact, you have an honorary consul who is really an official representative of the government of one country in the territory of another country. I think that's as simple as I can probably put it. But there's no consulate. A consulate suggests that there's an office with a building and staff there in Haiti, but there's no consulate in Haiti as far as I know. Caller, do I have you holding? I'm sorry about that, caller. I have you holding. Thank you for holding your live.
That is good night.
Good night, sir.
From what I also want to thank God for the Federation of Nevis, a country we're born into, live into, and doing well for myself. And if I can help reach out to others, I'll reach out to others. Especially the young people who are coming up the school. Reach out to them people. That is, I want to comment on an earlier caller talking about people on the road. I want to tell him that, my good friend, people on the road got a family members. People on the road got money. People on the road got children. Those vagabonds you see on the road, put it out of garbage pan. And there's a reason for them by doing that. Because when people got a siblings and they look for them, that's the way that God punish some of us by doing wrong things. So I do not think nobody could not know about that. Nobody could not know about them doing what they want to do or live how they want to live. And such as I ain't gonna take up my money and waste for nobody who live the work life who want to support the children them and live a dirty life. Some of them living that way because they do wrong things and not treat people things and people do them like that and all them kind of things. You understand? Some of them involve themselves in drugs because they won't hear what the parents them say. Some of them involve themselves in all kind of different things. And I don't think no government and nobody supposed to take up no money and talk about freedom people. Not unless the ban as they bleed, a ban can't walk, a ban some kind of the farm. You understand? Like the special school, special ed and all them people there. That is my money to help the young people coming up. Especially those children who fatherless. Some of them parents, the father gone because of the gun down. My money is to help them people and help the school to uplift the people. Because this is what the country wants. The country wants brilliant people. People with a young, brilliant mind and get this political tribalism out of us. Because I was in the labor march Monday gone, and the amount of cost and bills I get. I want to let our people live in tobacco still, especially people in number 6. Because even one of them even tell me, what is Dr. You march for? Me sure not march to Dr. Douglas. Me sure that Dr. You march for. Ah, them ignorance. Politics is time we get out of this political tribalism and this ignorance because he ain't working for some of us. Look what happened just a year back. What happened to us in this country? We like a government was doing so well. You understand? That's why I tell people I'm not in the politics with nobody. Who wants to talk the politics. I'm talking to uplift my country. I see my country do well. If the government do well, the country do well. If the government mess up, the country mess up. And That's the reason why I can speak out against the wrong ears and the wrongdoing. Patches, you have a wonderful night. May God bless you and keep you.
Thank you, my brother. Politics, always good to hear you. Patches, today on Freedom FM issues, the special advisor in human settlement at NHC, Leon Natter, said the Trinidad company is providing the money and the financing to build the 2,400 homes. Patches, please play the clip with Prime Minister Drew. With Prime Minister Drew telling Jackie Quinn of Observer Radio that all the money to build the 2,400 homes is in the bank in our country. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding your live. Hello, caller.
Is that me? Is that who's live?
Yes, you're live, sir.
Yes, Patches, my name is Anthony Ross. I think you and I met. I'm calling in particularly with respect to the housing issue. Now, if you take the number of houses, and you take the number of constituencies through St. Kitts and Nevis, you divide it up equally. The first thing I must say is it's a good idea to get into the housing. And from what I hear about the designs, very, very positive. But as far as the project administration is concerned, I recall I had to give advice to a young fellow recently who was being accused of getting work without it being put out to 3 bids. And I had to tell this young fellow, don't worry about the other guys. Let him understand that if government is supposed to get 3 bids, he as a provider of services, he doesn't have to go out and worry about that. So put that aside. But coming back to this whole question of competition, I left St. Kitts over 60 years ago. And I could recall when they were building the bulk sugar storage thing up at Bullseye. They brought in I think it was at the Malian plant out of Jamaica. Sometimes they used to bring up White and Mackenzie. But look around. That brewery is bigger than any of these buildings that are going to be built for houses. And that was built with local talent. As a matter of fact, I know the guy who built it. Look at the bottling company next to it. That was built with local talent. And since I am back, I have had engineers, I've had all kinds of people coming and saying that that project, as far as your project down in Old Road was concerned, that could also have been built with a lot of local talent. And when are we going to start to think about transfer of technology and capacity building? We should be doing these things ourselves. So as far as the project is concerned, I say all praises to Dr. Drew, the Honorable Dr. Drew, Prime Minister. But as far as the process is concerned, I think that it is bad. Because there are local contractors who could actually do and supervise that work. And if it is that government wanted to be very protective and to be careful what they were doing, and they brought in a project management group, at least that could be helpful. But I was speaking to somebody earlier this evening, and they were saying, if it is you have a local contractor, he got all his friends, he circulates the money stays within our society. And if it were that this thing had been put out to tender in the first place, put out to bids, and a condition of the funding was that it goes outside, at least that could be addressed. But to just take it as is after all of these statements, look at just, you know one of the politicians, one of the people who ran in the last election, and look how he was targeted. Because government elected not to get 3 bids. It was as if he was supposed to go out and say, guys, guess what? I'm going to put in, and I want to do some work for government, and I want you to come to be my competition. That's not how it works. So I would just like to see more opportunity for local talent. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear Professor. Well said. And yes, we do have quite a lot of talent here, and I trust it would be better utilized. Good night, Patches. I am sending a strong plea to the People's Action Movement and Sean Richards. Please step up to Dr. Drew. You all have been romancing with Drew for far too long. Now he is showing off on you all. See how we take Mark to the coronation of the king in England? Drew knows that his cabinet is divided, so he continues to hold on to Mark. For when Douglas ready for him, Mark said both CCM and PAM were going to be the new unity. I feel so bad as a PAM supporter all these years to see how Mark conducts. Simmons, please choose Jonathan Powell to be the new leader of PAM if Sean can't provide the leadership. We can't afford for our institution to go further down the drain. Too many of us are suffering because PAM in opposition taking licks because of the deceit of Mark. Let's go back to the drawing board, Drew. Got to go. And only if we pull ourselves together, we can take him down. Reads this email. This other email reads, good night, Patches. Building houses are good, but I think the populace should have an idea of what was intended. I believe this move was done to eliminate the millions of arrears owed to NHC. Hence the reason to put the houses in the hands of a private developer to ensure people pay their rent on time. Smart houses, smart move by Dr. Drew and his team of experts, reads this other email. The deafening silence of Dwyer Astafan on the $1.5 billion housing contract the Trinidad company got is very strange. Where is your voice, Dwyer, to fight for the local contractors and the local workers? Why no procurement was done for this project? Dwyer, why are you silent? Dwyer, what is the relationship between you and this Trinidad company? Dwyer, are you the lawyer and legal representative for this Trinidad company? Reads this other email. I'll take this final email before we wrap tonight. Patches, that Labor Day march was the worst ever in terms of turnout and substance. That should be a warning to them, that the people are fed up with them, with the lies and broken promises. Families are facing hardship in this country, and they can't get no assistance from this government. They had taken bread out of people's mouth. That's why the people didn't come out to march with them. They think we're foolish and stupid, but we showed them we have sense. We need the $1,500 they promised us and the increase in our minimum wage. Reads this email. And someone asked me a question as well about the Christopher Harbour issue. Good night, Patches. Is there any update on the Christopher Harbour and the National Bank deal? I saw something circulating about that, some writing off of $100 million. I cannot confirm it. I'm investigating that matter, but I think it would be crazy, although anything we can expect from Drew and his comrades, but we'll see what happens about that purported wiping off of the $100 million debt for the Christopher Harbour. I cannot confirm that. Straight Talk cannot confirm that. So we would actually investigate the matter and give you information as it relates to that particular issue. We know that there was a discussion on a reopening since the new directors got in place. Terence Crosman, who came from the SIDF and is familiar with that loan that Christopher Harbour got. He is now the managing director in the bank, and he must be au fait as well with the loan they got from the National Bank as well. But we are following that story. And do not believe the nonsense being spoken by the Prime Minister about 30% in Christopher Harbour. What absurdity. Nothing but nonsense, really. But my Shreddock family, as we wind down tonight's programming, our main thesis tonight, or our thesis tonight, we entitled Conduct of the DPP Undermines the Rule of Law. We spoke to the well-documented literature which guides us that in the absence of the rule of law, a culture of crime will thrive at or thrive in any country. The issue we raised, though, was the inconsistency within the office of the Director of Public Prosecutions. Because just over a week ago, upon the advice of the previous Director of Public Prosecutions, Valston Graham, 2 persons were charged by the police in a gun find here in St. Kitts, and this was successfully prosecuted. But hear this, a few days later, this time on Nevis, the Jew Labour government handpicked and current DPP, Greatest Gordon Hazel, stunned the courtroom, which was in session, when she served a notice of discontinuance on Senior Magistrate Her Honor Yasmin Clark in the case before her, numbered NEVMCR 2023/1/02. Director of Public Prosecutions, Greatest Gordon Hazel, exercised her power under Section 65, subsection 2 of our Constitution, and ordered that the notice of discontinuance be entered in her name in the case in which the accused stood charged before the District C Magistrate Court with the offences of possession of firearm and ammunition contrary to Section 20, subsection 1B of the Firearms Act, Cap 19.05. The warrant dated 25th April 2023 was served on her honor, Miss Yasmin Clark, in order for her to discharge the proceedings which were currently before her court. Did you understand what I said? I said 2 persons in St. Kitts were charged in District A Magistrate Court with the offences of possession of firearm and ammunition, and was sentenced to 3 years each in prison. However, days later, in District C of the Magistrate Court in Nevis, a different person was charged with the same offense. And in this case, the same prosecution that successfully prosecuted the case in St. Kitts miraculously discontinued the case in Nevis. And we have said tonight that the conduct of DPP Gordon Hazel has thus far brought the administration of justice in St. Kitts and Nevis into disrepute. And as we wind down tonight's programming, my Straight Dog family, I mentioned at a recent crime symposium held in Trinidad and Tobago with CARICOM heads. The Prime Minister of Barbados suggested or made a very interesting comment about rotation of judges. And perhaps, if she's right, may want to think about the rotation of directors of public prosecution to eliminate that familiarity issue. The lawyer, we understand, in the case in Nevis, was the former Attorney General as well. So, is it that therein lies the problem? Familiarity with counsel? But what is even worse, though, my straight dog family, is the deafening silence of the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association in matters like these, and its disinterest in taking them up and providing much needed guidance in an effort to help code them to do the right thing. But if the St. Kitts Nevis Bar Association is silent on the transgression of the law by its former president and current AG, Garth Lucian Wilkin, what else can we expect from this body of lawyers? The decision to prosecute a person or not isn't a political decision. But my straight dog family, I want to suggest that fair and effective prosecution is essential to a properly functioning criminal justice system and the maintenance of law and order in a democratic state. Or I should say, I associate myself with those comments of Professor Muna Ndulo in his article, The Moral Arc of Justice. Those involved in the administration of justice, including judges and prosecutors, cannot be subject to political influence. Can a DPP arbitrarily discontinue a case when there is a reasonable prospect of conviction? A man found with a gun and ammunition caught red-handed in Nevis, then isn't it an abuse of process to arbitrarily discontinue that case? My straight talk family, why after 8 months a new DPP has not been recruited? Is it that the AG is sneaking in his friend and thinking the country would not be aware of his plans?
On the expiry of the contract of the former DPP, Director of Public Prosecutions, on September 19th, and to create a smooth leadership transition, 2 experienced local prosecutors were assigned. I promise that we will properly provide the support and staff to make the office able to function properly like it should. And we're also going to recruit a new DPP very shortly to take the reins of that office.
8 months ago. But now, we're left with the question as we conclude. Are the actions of the DPP making the criminal justice system as strong as it can be in the fight against crime and violence, also for the protection of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis? My straight talk family, I can hear a response from a distance. I can hear you say, like you all said tonight, without fear of contradiction, the conduct of the DPP undermines the rule of law in this country. That's my story tonight, my Straight Talk family, and I'm not going to change it. Out of time, my Straight Talk family, and I gotta run. I want to thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, I want to thank you, the many callers, those who sent emails, and those who just listened on social media. Just remember, you are the ones who make Straight Talk. And for that reason, I say a big, big thank you. I am Ian Patches Libel, and God's Spear, we will connect on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Do your chores. Have your relaxation. Go to the beach. Go to church. Whatever you do it in moderation. And remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend. Keep moving on.